welcome back to the Immigration Answer Show. My name is Jim Hacking. This is episode number 372 of the Immigration Answer Show. I'll be here for the next, 45 minutes, 50 minutes or so, answering as many of your immigration law related questions as I can. Let me go ahead and get the link to the waiting room so I can put that in there. And the waiting room is open. I'm having a great weekend. Yesterday, Noor had 3 softball games, and they went 3-0. So they'll be playing today in just a little bit, which is where I'll be headed after this. Also, my son Ibrahim graduated from Parkway West High School, magna cum laude, so with honors. It was a really special night. My mom and my sisters and his brothers and his sister and my wife Amani and I all went out to the St. Charles Family Arena for here's the link for his graduation. It was a lot of fun. And then he had a lockdown. He had fun all night. He was up all night at a place called The Main Event, which is sort of like Dave & Buster's, where you just have fun, play games, and hang out with your friends. So it's been a very nice weekend. It's been great weather too. Really, really pretty weather. We haven't had that humidity that we get so often in St. Louis so early. So it's made for a really nice time. And tonight we're going to go to the place called the Missouri Botanical Garden to celebrate Amani and Mother's Day, because we were out of town in Arkansas last week for a softball tournament. So with all that being said, I do see a few people in the waiting room, and I'm going to go ahead and get started. Come on in. I shared the link. If you aren't coming on, that's okay. Just let us know where you're watching from. We'd love to know where people are in their journey, immigration-wise, and where they are in the world, what they're looking out for. I wanted to begin by thanking one of our longtime viewers named Lewis. Lewis, you may know, came on last week and promised to pay it forward, and he has paid for someone he doesn't know to handle we're handling their lawsuit for him. We gave a bit of a discount. Lewis paid the rest, and we're helping a couple hopefully get reunited after long delays at USCIS and the State Department. So thank you to Lewis. That's actually the second person this year who paid someone else's legal fees, which is pretty remarkable. So, all right, the waiting room is now filling up. Our friend Brian's here, so let me start with him. Hello, Brian.
Hey, Jim. How are you doing?
Great. How are you doing?
Good. I called that same day you talked to Lewis. So I think if you remember, my wife was here and we were planning to do consular processing, and now we found that adjustment of status might be possible for us.
Yes, sir.
But there's a lot of confusing issues here that we're having second thoughts about it. Like, for one thing, the attorney we talked to said she could have a temporary work permit in 120 days, and we looked online and USCIS says 17 months. And if she can't work, that changes a lot for us in the coming year, and whether or not this is doable even. And
well
I don't know if I can trust what he's saying.
Well, let me address that.
Yeah.
So number one, it's probably not going to be 120 days.
Okay.
And it's probably not going to be 17 months. So here's how I would explain it. 10 to 15% of the people get that work card in 30 days. There's been some recent progress. There are a small number of cases that the person gets their work card very, very fast, 2 or 3 weeks.
Wow.
Most people, the rest, the other 85%, wait about 5 to 6 months.
Okay.
And then maybe 5% of the people end up waiting 7, 8, 9 months, even a year. So you have to know that.
Okay.
You have to know that going in.
Yes, that's something we have to account for and plan for, because I don't know.
But no lawyer should be promising a work card in 120 days, because no one knows. There's no guarantee.
Right. He didn't promise. He just said right now that he's been seeing it take about that long, and he said he couldn't guarantee anything. But
okay, good.
Yeah, and then also it's a big expensive firm, and they're saying we're pay like $6,000, but we looked at it and it doesn't include the work permit application or advanced parole or the medical.
Advanced parole.
Yeah, the medical.
And the affidavit of support.
Oh, the affidavit of support, which I think is a big
one. And the medical report, is that normal?
Yeah, is that normal that's not included? Because I thought one of the advantages with with adjustment of status is it's a one-step thing. You put it all in, and then all of it should be done at once. And I didn't think I should be kind of dragged along to do more work later and pay for it with him later. Is that typical?
You're saying that the lawyer's agreement is
Yeah.
for $6,000, and it doesn't include preparing the work card, the travel document, and the affidavit of support.
I-130, the adjustment of status, and
And
something else.
I-130.
Yeah.
And adjustment of status.
Yeah.
I-45.
Yeah.
And then.
Yeah, I'm looking at. Hang on, I'm looking at it right here. Yeah.
Well, here.
Yeah, I-130,
I-485,
and
I-765.
765. That's it.
That's work authorization. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that is okay. Good, but still,
so it sounds like they're not doing a good job of explaining things to you. So let me just tell you how we do it. So our current legal fee is $5,700 to be the lawyer, and that's to be the lawyer from now until she gets the green card.
Right.
And when we apply, we file the I-130, the I-130A, the I-765, which is the work card, the I-131, which is the travel document, the I-45 for adjustment, and then the I-864 for the affidavit of support. That doesn't include legal fees. So legal fees or filing fees. Filing fees are $535 for the I-130 and $1,225 for the 45. But most lawyers include the travel document and the work card in what they prepare. So I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, we sent them an email and said why that's not here.
And is it normal, Mr. Hacking? Is it normal that they don't include RFE in that $6,000 that we paid?
Yeah, the RFEs come in.
So what we do is, it depends on the RFE. So we do in our contract exclude RFEs, but we always do them. We almost always do them included in the original price. But sometimes you get really crazy RFEs, and we reserve the right to be able to charge more. But we would talk about that beforehand. But most cases, if you file a correct case with all those forms I just mentioned and the supporting documents, you should not get a request for evidence. You might get a request for evidence for the medical or for more you shouldn't get it for more marriage evidence, because you should submit a strong enough case not to get a request for evidence for more marriage evidence. So I don't think you need to worry about RFEs too much.
Okay. So, all right. Well, that's in there though, just to reserve the right. If they get a big crazy one that's going to take them a long time, they could.
That's what we do. But I mean, I would say in the last 2 years we haven't charged for a single RFE. So it's very unusual.
Okay. So it's very rare to worry about.
So, Mr. Hacking, a question.
Wait, just real quick before we get to the question. There are lawyers, though. I'm not saying your lawyer, or the lawyer you're thinking about hiring. I'm not saying this lawyer, but some lawyers file a shit case, knowing that they're going to get a request for evidence and knowing that they can charge their clients more for RFEs. So,
okay. Well, this is a big, well-known firm here in Tampa, and they have a great reputation. But then they may be a little too big for.
That doesn't mean
my
anything.
Own good, maybe too expensive. I don't know.
That doesn't mean anything to me. I don't care about people's.
Okay. That's good to know. Oh yeah, and so then we would be kind of assigned to a very junior attorney.
2 years license?
Yeah, like been licensed 2 years. And is that typical that, I mean, the big guy at the firm is not really going to be handling us day to day, that we're going to be relying on somebody? I mean, I don't know that he's not good. I just don't know what to trust.
I haven't handled the case. I mean, I go to interviews every now and then, but I haven't handled the nuts and bolts of a case in a long time. So I would say that's normal. Yeah.
Okay. You get somebody that you like, that you can trust, and you put it on them as much as you can.
I feel like I'm doing a great job of helping this attorney sign up a case, but go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, and on the other hand, you're also kind of relieving our tension here. It sounds more typical than I thought. Was there something else? Oh, I didn't write them. I'm sorry. I took notes. I didn't have them with me, but we had. I guess that's probably the majority of our question was, are we getting into something? Oh, and there was something in there about making it retroactive to where if we didn't, it sounded like if we didn't hire him, they would charge us, because we talked to him on the phone twice and he answered all our questions and we were told it's a free consultation, especially because we didn't know if we want to do adjustment of status or consular processing. And we said, thanks for talking to us, but we don't know what we're doing. And then it sounded like we'd be on the hook to pay them for these calls if we chose not to hire him.
On the legal contract.
That's interesting. I don't know. I've never heard that before.
Okay, it just said it was it becomes active when we pay, and then it becomes retroactive to the first time services were rendered. So I don't know if a phone call is just so casual it's not considered services.
I don't know. That's
Oh,
weird.
wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was like those were the major questions we had because it just we hadn't even considered this until last week, and now we don't know what we're getting into.
Oh,
Thanks, Brian. Have a good day.
And then one other question, if you could. He said if we didn't get the work permit quickly enough, that my wife would be able to work online if her, if her client's not in America and her bank account's not in America, then she's not working in America. She's remote. But I think we looked online and they said don't risk that. It sounds sketchy and you might get in trouble for it.
Okay, so I just made a video about this the other day, and you can check it out. It's, I think, the most recent one to post.
Okay.
The law says that she's not supposed to work in any capacity until she gets her work card.
Okay.
But the law also says that if she were to work, and as long as you guys don't lie about it at any green card interview, as long as you disclose it, that because she's married to a U.S. citizen, that's forgiven.
Okay. So that's another one of the forgiven things, like the 90-day ESTA is like kind of forgiven.
How does it work if we want to hire them, but we're in Florida?
If we wanted to call you Monday and hire you, and we're in Florida, is that an issue? We're going to be talking like this a little bit, or?
Immigration is federal, and we handle cases all over the country. We've had many cases in Tampa. I've been to that field office many times.
Okay, that's a nice place. Okay, well, we'll certainly think about it because we've always come to you for a dose of reality when everybody else is a little too positive. Yeah, sweetness and light. Give us a call. We'll help you out, and then we come to you to find out what not to do, which I hope you take as the compliment that I intend.
I do. No, I get it. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, man.
Bye, guys. Have a good day.
Thanks, you too.
See ya. Junior's up next. Hello, Junior.
Hey, how you doing, John?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm okay. So I got a question for you. Okay, so my case was at the National Benefit Center for almost 26 months and a half. Then like a week ago, it got transferred to the Los Angeles field office. Well, I don't stay in Los Angeles. I'm in Phoenix. And they haven't sent me any letter saying it was transferred. I had to call them to check it. And they told me it been transferred to Los Angeles field office. And when I trying to check them, when I trying to ask them, is there anything going on? They said, no, we can't really give you any information. I don't know, man. I'm just confused. I don't know.
This is a green card case?
Yeah, it's based on refugees more than a year ago.
Yeah. So those cases sometimes get hung up. 26 months is ridiculous. You might want to sue them. I wouldn't be too worried about it being in that field office. That's actually a good thing. It means the case is moving. But I would say if you wait a couple more months and nothing's happened, you're probably going to have to sue them. Sometimes they feel like they can't do a proper background check on somebody applying for a green card through the refugee system. So I think you might end up having to sue them, but you could also, since it's at the field office for just a little while, you might wait a little longer and then maybe sue them.
You don't think it's looking suspicious to me? You know, I don't know. And all of a sudden, it just they transfer to the field office. And when I called to ask for information about the case, they want 800 number. The lady told me she cannot give me any information about the case.
That's just how they. I don't think you need to worry about that. That's just how they operate.
Okay, so if anything, then man, I'm thinking about suing them. So I'm probably getting like 30 days or probably 45 more days to see what's going on.
We could file the lawsuit tomorrow. You've waited long enough, so whenever you're ready, we're ready.
Thank you, Jim. I appreciate that, man. That's it.
Bye, Junior. Have a good Sunday. Bye, buddy.
Too, sir.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Oh no. Guess who's here? The other Shabazz. What the heck? There's another one. The other Shabazz is here. Can you hear me, Shabazz?
Hi, Jim. How you doing? Can you hear me okay?
I hear you great. How are you doing?
Not too bad. Shabazz here. Thank you for all you do, you, your team, your law partners, everyone. I really appreciate that. Rather than asking questions, can I come on your show every now and then to share knowledge and also maybe seek advice? Because I've been watching you and I want to share some stuff, especially with reference to a couple videos that people come and ask you questions, and I have real life experience that I want to talk about with you. So just a little bit about me. I'm a Canadian citizen, and I do long haul trucking. And you may remember a fellow came on your show a couple of days ago, I think episode 370, and he was, I think, gonna get married to a U.S. citizen, and he does cross-border trucking. You may remember.
I do.
Okay, there you go. I hope he's watching the show, Jim, and I'll tell you my situation. So married to U.S. citizen, we live in beautiful Canada, 3 children, and we had thought about, where to live, but we live in Canada. And believe me, just like you call these people effing morons, every day I deal with them. Okay? I'm very transparent, and I just dealt with one clown yesterday. Jim, once they find out that you're married to a U.S. citizen, they literally get scared. And I got my situation resolved. I'm sharing my story with you. What will happen is they will eventually cool down with you, will process you, they'll take your fingerprints and your pictures, and then they'll sort of apply for something in their system, and that will stop the problem. But I was dealing with this for 6 years until it got resolved. And my question for you now is that if a U.S. citizen does apply for a foreign national or a Canadian citizen who does cross-border work, is it confirmed that in the border system, it will show I-130 when that individual is crossing? Is it confirmed? Is it 100%?
I wouldn't say that it's 100%, but I think their systems have gotten more advanced, and it seems more often that they're catching things like that. Yes, I wouldn't say it's 100%, but I'd say it's somewhere like 75%.
Okay, fair enough. How about this one? What if a U.S. citizen, let's say, for example, lives abroad in Canada, for example, once they want to come back home, we'll use my example. Let's say my wife decides to file a petition for me, and she's living in Canada, but every now and then goes to New York. Once she approaches the border guard, once they scan her passport, will it show them that she has applied or filed a petition for the husband?
Maybe, but probably not.
Okay, no problem. All right. But nonetheless, my call today was for that individual that he will deal with a lot of headache with these clowns. And especially when it comes to cross-border trucking, there's so much going on because we work under the NAFTA agreement or what have you. And
Right.
they can't really deny you, but they will scrutinize you. They will trouble you, especially given the fact that they profile people. And of course, there's some nice guys there. They'll listen to your story. You'll be transparent. They'll move on. The last thing I want to discuss with you is with reference to taxes, because I had this issue too. I know as per immigration rules and regulations, you suggest do it married filing jointly. I did a lot of research, Jim, got information from your videos, talked to all kinds of people. As a matter of fact, I was on the phone with those IRS people a couple of days ago. When you have an immigrant who's outside, like in my case, my wife's a citizen of America and dual citizen, actually, both countries, so are my kids by default. Once, like in my case, I'll talk about it. My wife would file her taxes as per IRS regulations, as the status would be filing married but separately. And for the spouse, they would state NRA, non-resident alien, because you cannot get an ITIN or a social number if you're not living or working in America. And this is something that you would just have to explain if you ever seek immigration benefit, that this is why it is so. And obviously, once they are a legal resident, and then only they would change it to married filing jointly. Because if you were to misrepresent yourself and get an ITN number, which anyone could really get, then you're lying and you're saying, I live in America or I work there. But you really and truly, you don't. You know what I mean?
I'm 100% cool with what you just said. I think that's good advice. When it comes to filing taxes when you're married and the spouse lives abroad, I'm much more flexible and comfortable with what people are saying. The ones that I get worried about are when the people are both inside the United States and they want to file separately. But if the U.S. citizen is in the United States and the foreign national is outside, then I don't really care.
Got it. Perfect. I know I said that was the last one, but this is my real last one. Jim, in
That's
your
okay.
experience as an attorney for AOS, I'm talking about adjustment. What state, what city, or field office do you say are easygoing with immigrants or with foreign nationals? When it comes to seeking immigration benefit, in your experience, I know some places like Florida, they're like tough on people. I'm not too sure about St. Louis. And I'll tell you why I'm asking that, because if in the future we ever wish to move, because I'm always in America because of long haul truck, and I was in St. Louis last week and headed down to El Paso where they're saying there's a lot of problem, and there isn't any problem there. Everything is fine. So what state do you say, or what city?
So I don't think you can be too clever on this, because every office that's really good has an asshole in it, and every office that's really bad has a nice person in it, and more than one. You know what I mean? So, but generally, the offices, the way that I would rate them is who are the most professional, who are the most efficient, who are the most fair. And the ones that I feel are the most fair, that I like the most: Baltimore, Chicago, and Dallas. Those are my favorites. I always feel like I'm going to get a fair shake if I go to Baltimore. Chicago's my real favorite, and Dallas.
Okay, fair enough. Actually, I'm married within the families, and some states don't allow first cousin marriages. I know New York is okay with it, and Chicago probably. So that's why I thought I asked that question.
Actually,
uh-huh.
New York and Illinois, neither of those recognize first cousin marriages. I think I know Illinois doesn't, and I'm pretty sure New York does. It's strange, the ones that allow it. But I got to go, Shabazz. Thanks. That was a great call, and I appreciate your information. And if you want to call back and share more stuff later, I'm cool with that.
I promise I will. I'm headed to Dallas right now. Thank you for your time. Have a nice day. I will come back, sir. Thank you so much.
Bye, Shabazz. See you, buddy. Well, it's going to be a good show when you have any Shabazz on. We miss our regular friend. Shabazz. We're sure he'll be back soon, because he's going to keep waiting until he sues somebody on the other Shabazz. The Chicago office is my favorite. It's hard to get through security in the Chicago office. It is a nice building. It's really sort of crazy there. They have one floor for green cards, one floor for citizenship, and one floor for everything else. I've had really good results after having sued that field office. That's one of the reasons I like it. There's also one of the nicest security guards that at any immigration office I've been to. He works at the top of that escalator. He's very pleasant, helps people check in. Super nice guy. Speaking of nice guys, I remembered there was another story besides Lewis that I wanted to share with you. So yesterday when Noor had her softball game, I was spaced out, as I usually am, talking to my kids and having fun. And somebody, a former client named Phil, came up to me, and he looks a lot like one of my business coaches. And so it threw me for a loop. It took me a minute, and he goes, Phil, and then I remembered who he was, and I saw his wife. So I had helped with his wife's case and stepkid cases, and his little boy was getting ready to play baseball, and he was like 5. So I asked him what position he played. He didn't know what in the hell I was talking about. And this is like really little kid baseball. But it was such a treat to see this life that they've built together. And that's really, I get on here and complain a lot about USCIS. I complain a lot about the State Department, and all that stuff is legit. But there is an extra bonus about being an immigration lawyer, in that you get to help people build families so that they can go and watch their kid play baseball together. Like, it's a whole different thing, right? So getting the chance to connect with that former client, and that was back in the old office. So that was, 6 or 7 years ago. So to see them thriving like they are, and to see how happy they are, and to see their little boy playing baseball, and saying to yourself, if we hadn't done such a good job on that case, they might not be together. It was a hard case. In fact, I believe, it was a hard case. It was referred to me by another immigration lawyer. They said, yeah, I could handle this, but I think this might be a good case for Jim. And this was back when I was handling cases myself. So I was really happy to see Phil and his wife and his stepdaughter and his son. It was really, really great. And that's one of the fun things about being an immigration lawyer is, you're not talking about damage to a car or, like I used to do, damage to a boat. You're talking about real people's lives. You get to every now and then to see the real world consequences and successes of your hard work. So that's just sort of made my day yesterday even more special. All right, let's say hi to Jessica. Hello,
Hey, what's up, Jim?
Gabriel, how are you?
Gabriel. No, hey, Jim, it's me. I'm Chris. I'm with Jessica. Can you
All
hear me
right.
okay?
I got you.
Okay. So, first of all, thank you for everything you're doing. We appreciate it a lot. I have a question about our situation. We got married back in June 2021. We submitted the paperwork in August, and we had to do a RFE in December for what was it, income? Yeah, for income, more income evidence. And we still haven't received any kind of green card or anything. We recently submitted a FOIA, and we got the papers back, and we noticed that I made some mistakes on the I-130. One was, what were the mistakes? I forgot the 5-year addresses. I didn't put like where I lived the last 5 years. There's a section where it says something about spouses, previous spouses, and it says when did it end? And I kind of like put the date we got married.
We both don't have previous marriages.
Yeah, we don't have any previous marriages, but I just messed up on the I-130. And again, the city that we got married was also a mistake. So I guess my first question is, well, from Silver Spring to Rockville, they're like right next to each other.
Oh, that's not a big deal.
Yeah, okay. So my question is, how do I go about kind of like making the corrections to these forms, or do I? They didn't ask for any kind of corrections, but
Okay, so let's back up. Who's the U.S. citizen?
I am.
So, Jessica, what was Jessica's immigration status at the time that you got married?
I was out of status, but I came here as a tourist.
And how long before you got married did you come as a tourist?
Maybe a year ago. I came in March 15, 2020.
And what country are you from? Ethiopia?
No, Mozambique.
Mozambique. Okay, so you come from Mozambique on a B1, B2. What was the purpose of your visit?
Just visit. I did a visa with my mom, so I came with her.
And when you did your visa with your mom, did you handle that all yourself, or did you hire some company near the embassy to handle that for you to get the visit visa?
We did ourselves.
Did yourselves. Okay, good. And so on that DS-160, when you applied for your visit visa, you said that you were single,
Yes.
not married. And that was true. You weren't married. You were never married back in Mozambique.
No.
Okay, so then you come to the United States, and then how long were you and Chris together? How long were you guys together before you got married and then filed for adjustment?
Like 6 months.
Okay. And what forms did you file when you filed the application?
The I-130, the I-485, which other ones?
The work
card.
The
and
work card.
Travel
and,
document.
Not travel
No
document.
travel,
Yeah, no
no.
travel document.
Okay. And then what about the medical? Did you send in the medical?
Yes.
Yes, we did.
And then you sent in the affidavit of support, the I-64?
Yes,
Yeah.
we first submitted for my husband, but then it wasn't enough. We had to get a joint sponsor, so
Yeah.
his parents did for us.
Okay. And then did you file the I-130 online, or did you fill it out by paper?
By paper.
Okay. And did you do the FOIA because you hadn't kept a copy of it, or had you kept a copy of it?
Well, I have a copy of it, but we just wanted to see everything that they had.
Was there anything else in the FOIA that surprised you?
There was blanked out page, like some sections were blanked out.
They always do
with
that.
like B6 or something. I don't know if there was like questions or.
That's like internal. No, that's probably from the background check. So that's not a big deal. Okay. All right. So the date of filing that case was when?
When did we file?
August 5th, 2021.
Wow, that's a really long time. And so if you have an interview, it would be at the Baltimore field office?
Yeah.
And so on the I-130, where it says about a prior marriage, you marked that the date that the prior marriage ended was actually, you actually inserted your wedding date to Jessica.
Yeah, I put Jessica there, and then there was a section of date marriage ended, and I put the wedding date. It was like section B21, B21A.
I hate to say it. I hate to say it, but I think that the reason your case is taking so long is because of that box.
Okay.
I think their computers aren't set up for that, and you've thrown them for a loop because the system sees that the prior marriage ended on a certain date, but they don't see any other information about the prior marriage. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying.
How can we address that?
Yeah, how do I address this? Like,
So if I were your lawyer, what I would do is I would prepare what's called an errata sheet. Errata means mistake, like error, like ERRATA. I have a video on this about how to prepare an errata sheet. But I think you probably are going to need a lawyer here sooner rather than later, and I'll tell you why. If I were your lawyer, this is what I would do. I would go over your I-130. I'd go over all the forms with you to see what other mistakes are on there, because I bet there's some more. And I would prepare a list of all the corrections. And then I would send it to the whichever office currently has the file, which sounds like it's one of the service centers. So I would send this letter by Federal Express to the service center, and I would say, hey, we recently did a FOIA on our I-130, I-45, and we noticed some errors. Here are our corrections to those forms. And I would also probably, Chris, I would also submit some updated marital evidence.
yeah.
And I would say, hey, you guys, I know you're waiving lots of interviews, so here's my deal. If you guys don't approve this case without an interview or schedule us for an interview in, say, the next 45 days, we're going to sue you because we're getting up to the 2-year mark, and that's way too long. This is BS. And you now have everything you need to approve this case. So I might even send it both to the Baltimore field office and to the service center.
Okay.
Give them a deadline, and then say, I'm going to sue you if you guys don't hurry up this case. You might even give them to the 2-year anniversary since it's coming up.
Yes.
And then see what happens. That's what I would do.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you ask him if his office could take how much would it be?
Okay, so if you were to take our case, how much are we looking at?
I don't know, because it's not taking the case over from scratch. I would say that if you send me the FOIA and let me look it over, I could see if I notice anything else, or someone here in the office can look it over, and then I could price it out for you. I could let you know in a day or two.
Okay. Also, I have one more question. On their website, there's a space where you can submit additional evidence.
Yeah.
Is that something we should do, or is that like recommended, or?
I would do it the way I said.
Okay.
I would send it to them with the corrections and with a threat to sue them.
Okay. Okay. Well, I guess we'll send you over the FOIA, see what you say, and I guess.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. Do you have the email address? I can post it here.
Sure.
So you have it. There's too many things in here. Hold on. Here, I'll put it on the bottom. So you can call, the email is info@hackingimmigrationlaw.com. info@hackingimmigrationlaw.com.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Okay. Thank you very much, Jim.
Have a good day. See ya.
You too.
Okay, bye. All right. We're cooking today on a Sunday. We like cooking on Sunday. So a lot of good stuff. Hey, if you have a minute and could do us a favor, if you could go to reviewhackinglaw.com, we'd really appreciate it. It would be a big help if you could leave us a 5-star review. Always happy to get those. Tomorrow's show is going to be at 4 o'clock Central. Tomorrow's show, 4 o'clock Central. Ranya's here. Hello, Ranya. You're on mute.
Hi, how are you?
Great. How are you doing?
Fine. Actually, I'm U.S. citizen, and I filed for my parents. We are.
Ranya's breaking up a little bit.
Hello? Sorry.
Hello.
Yeah, it's cut a little bit.
No worries. So you're a U.S. citizen. You applied for your parents, and then it cut out after that.
Oh, sorry. Oh, I filed for my parents to come here in February 2021. Actually, my parents is Syrian. We have a Syrian nationality. And we go through all things until we reach out for our interview. It happened in 30 March. And they put them on the administrative processing.
Mm-hmm.
My dad was like working in the army, in the Syrian army, but he retired in 2003. It's about like 20 years ago. And I don't know what I should do. I'm scared from the permanent refused after the administrative processing. And I don't know how to do anything to like save ourselves from this is waiting.
How high was he in the military?
Actually, he was general in the military.
Yeah, they might not let him come.
Yeah, but he retired from 2003. He's old now.
It doesn't matter.
Oh my goodness! But he doesn't share with anything of like the any activity with the Syrian TV. He was trainer actually in the Syrian army.
Which embassy had his interview?
Amman, Jordan, Amman.
And how long was the interview? Did they spend a lot of time asking about his military history?
Yeah.
They
He
did?
asked him if he like traveled to Iran or to Lebanon during his work, and he said no. And actually, he didn't do that. He didn't travel to any place during his.
And so they're also sitting on your mom's case?
Yeah.
So March 30th was about 2 months ago. I might give them another 4 months. If it goes 6 months of administrative processing, then you probably need to sue them, but it might not work because they might not want to let him come.
But could I ask you, is that possible to get permanent refused?
Yeah, they could say that he was involved in a group that supported terrorism. I mean, the Syrian military is a group that they're very concerned about. So yeah, they could never let him come. That's certainly a possibility.
But that's in 2003. At that time, is the Syrian army is not like contribute with anything at that time. That's before the war and before everything happened. That's
I know, but they're not very smart.
Oh, and I'm scared about that. They didn't have good data about the Syrian army, so they can come back and see if he like share with anything else.
Which is why you'll probably have to sue them to find out. So I think that if it takes another 3 or 4 months and nothing happens, then we got to sue them and see what happens. I just would, if we sued them, we'd probably get your mom's case approved, and then I can't guarantee. I don't know what's going to happen on your dad's case. I just don't know what they'll do.
And we can't like during this is so maybe we can like during the case maybe like tell them please like he doesn't do anything. I don't know how we can like talk to them just to like explain to them is there's nothing. He doesn't do anything.
Yeah, that's why we sue them, because then we have a line of communication. Right now, there's no real way for them for your parents, for your dad to say anything to them. If we sue them, then at least we have a U.S. attorney that we can talk to and try to advocate. Say, look, this was in 2003. This was before the military did anything bad in Syria. It was just a regular old army job. But I mean, he was pretty high up. A general's pretty high up, and they like I said, they're not very smart, and they might just say, "Oh, general, Syria, no visa." That they might not think any more than that.
Yeah, actually, there's a lot of generals here from Syria.
Yeah, so that's good. That's good.
Yeah. Okay, so we can like if after 4 months we can sue them and talk to them about that.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Bye, Rania. Have a good day.
Have a good day. Thank you.
See ya. All right, let's go to George. Hello, George. George, are you there? You're on mute.
Hi, Jim. How are you doing?
I'm great, George. How are you?
Yeah, quite a long time. Quite a very long time, Jim.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you one question. If there was a student on an F1 visa whose I-20 is current and has potentials for an asylum relief, is the applicant or student able to file that regardless of his active I-120?
Sure.
Okay, and this also applies to the F2 status, right?
Sure.
Okay. All right, thank you. And once again, I enjoy your program.
You got it,
And
George. So just remember, generally, you're supposed to file for asylum within 1 year of
yeah,
your
yeah,
last
that's
arrival.
yeah.
But
Yeah,
also, if let's say that someone was on an F1 for 4 years and then applied for asylum, we've had many cases where they forgave that 1 year rule because the person had been in status the whole time.
the whole time here.
It's not automatic, but they do it a lot.
Right. Okay.
Thanks, George. Have a good day.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye, buddy. All right, Prince is back.
Hello, Jim.
Hi, and now we know Princess's real name. Hello, Yura. How are you?
Hi, Jim.
I'm still gonna call you Princess.
That's fine.
Yeah, Jim. I did double check on my divorce paper, and everything is legal and it's right. But
Good.
my question is, how do I dip into it to get my refusal docket from my diversity visa lottery in 2012?
You need to do a Freedom of Information Act request from the State Department.
Okay.
Freedom of Information Act request.
Yep, FOIA, Freedom of Information Act from the State Department, not from USCIS, but from the State Department. And you say, I want to get my complete file related to my diversity visa application. And if you still have the case number, that would be good.
Yeah, I'm sure I still do.
Okay.
I'm sure I still do.
FIA.
FOIA, FOIA. Nope, FOIA.
Got it.
So, baby, is there anything you want to ask?
No, that was the question I had for him. We wanted to know how we could get a copy of that.
So, Jim, if as it stands now, all my divorce papers are legal, should we just go ahead and file for the spouse visa, or we should just, I think that still goes in line with you have to file before if there's a necessary for you.
How do you know? How do you know now that you didn't know the other day that your divorce is all cool? How do you know?
No, I knew it, but I still want to double check to confirm everything.
Right. So what did you double check? That's what I'm trying to find out.
To find out the law court have a docket of my divorce file.
Okay.
And yes, they do.
Okay. I would, well, this is an overseas case, right? You're overseas, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think filing what I would do is I would file the I-130. I would also do the Freedom of Information Act request. They're both going to take a while. So I wouldn't wait to file the I-130. I think you're probably going to need a lawyer with this, but that's up to you guys.
Okay. And why do you think we might need a lawyer for this?
Because he's got a big misrepresentation problem based on the old DV case. So they are, I'll just say this, whether you hire a lawyer or not, they're not going to want to let Prince come to the United States. You've got a real fight on your hands.
Wow. So even though this is from 2012, it has nothing to do with anything going on now, they can still hold that against him?
Oh yeah, check out one of my videos. This is what it's called. It's called something like, they're sure your second marriage is cool, but they're worried about your first, right? Yeah, I mean, this could be from 1985, this could be from 1969. The fact that it's old doesn't mean anything. If you committed immigration fraud or made misrepresentations, you're going to have to deal with that, no matter, I mean, even if Princess is the cat's meow and everything's cool and the marriage is all good, all that doesn't fix the problem that Prince himself has. They're different.
Okay. Wow. Okay. And we won't know that until we file everything. And what do we have to do? Wait until they actually deny him before we can do anything else? You got to
go all the way through. So it's the I-130 should get approved because you're both free to marry. Hopefully Prince is right. Mm-hmm. So that goes all the way through USCIS. So that takes a year. Then you process through the National Visa Center. You pay the fees. You go to the embassy, and then you're probably going to address it at the interview. And what I would say, this is why you need the lawyer. What I would say is when you're getting ready for that visa interview, what you need is a legal brief explaining what happened, explaining that it wasn't a misrepresentation and he doesn't need a waiver. And then they'll decide to either give him the visa or they'll decide that he does need the waiver. And then you've got to do this whole other process that takes another year and a half to show hardship. But there's things you can do now to prove up the hardship. And we could talk about that too. So you most likely need a lawyer because this is not an easy, straightforward case.
goodness. Okay, so essentially we'll go ahead and do the request, the FOIA. We'll do that immediately, and then I will, because I'm returning to the States today, actually.
Oh, good.
So I will start working on the I-130 right away. I've already reviewed it, and it seems like it's a little more simple to complete than the K-1, because we went through all of that and everything, and it got approved. We submitted all the right documentation. We just got to the point where in the interview, that's when they refused him the visa. So I'm confident to do all of this. And then I think what we'll do is then follow up with you, because we definitely would like to work with you to help us get through that process with the legal docket you just stated.
Totally cool. The one thing I'll say, just for everybody watching and for you in particular, is if you guys are going to need a waiver down the road 2 years from now, the more time you spend back with Prince in his home country, that actually hurts the waiver case. Because because if they conclude that you can live there okay and that you're doing fine there okay, then that makes it less likely you're going to get the waiver.
Right. Well, no, I'm only here. I've only been here 2 weeks because we are now married. I just come to spend time with him for, a typical 2-week vacation that we get.
Because you have a life. Because you have a life, and you're working in the United States and everything.
Exactly. So that's why I'm leaving today, because I have to work tomorrow.
Okay. Well, safe travels. Keep us posted.
Okay. Thank you so much, Jim.
Thank you, guys. Jim.
Bye-bye.
See ya. All right. Olu's back. Let's say hi to Olu. Hello, Olu.
Hey, how you doing, Jim?
Great, buddy. How you doing?
I'm good. Wanted to say thank you for everything. My kids, everything is situated. The N600 is approved.
Nice.
Just waiting on your passport now. It's taking forever anyway.
Yeah.
So, but all that is done. I have a question for you.
Go for it.
So, I have a friend. She came here in 2018.
Okay.
On B1, B2. So when she came in here, that was in October. In January, she filed for asylum. And when she filed it, she went to USCIS. It wasn't approved.
Mm-hmm.
So she was sent to go and see an immigration judge.
Mm-hmm.
And she saw the judge, and the judge too wasn't convinced.
Mm-hmm.
So now she's taking it up to the RRB or IAB?
BIA.
BIA, yes, so BIA. So she's taking it up there now. But the question I have is, she met someone 2 years ago.
Yep.
And they've been in a relationship. But the reason why they didn't marry was everybody kept on advising her then that if you do this, then USCIS would think you're trying to run away from the asylum case.
Yeah.
So she didn't do that. But when she sought my advice, and I told her, I said, go ahead and get married, but do not file any paperwork. Let this asylum play out. But she didn't listen to me. So now that she's gone to see the immigration judge, and the immigration judge say no, now she's panicking. And now they've decided to go ahead and get married.
Yeah.
So my question for her, I became worried, because I told her, I said, now you're doing it backwards. Now it's when USCIS now feels that this is why you got married. Even though we know that you've been with this person for 2 years, but USCIS doesn't know that. So I don't know, what chances do you think? Because they've gone ahead and gotten married now, and they're thinking of filing the I-130 first, because they were thinking of filing the I-485 I said, no, you have to file the I-130 first.
Yep.
File the I-130 first, see that goes through, then you then start fighting the rest.
So I'm not going to spend much time like second guessing when they should have filed. For me, you file for an immigration benefit because you're in love, not because of people's immigration status. So I would have sort of been in the camp. I wouldn't have said, go take your shot on asylum and see what happens. If they're married and they're in love and it's a U.S. citizen, then I would have just filed. I don't think anyone holds you to play out your whole asylum case. I mean, we've handled probably 40 cases where someone had an asylum case, married a U.S. citizen, because these asylum cases take so long now.
Exactly, and that's what I told her.
It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. Now, one thing to keep in mind, though, is that when you when you are in removal, when you're in deportation, then you have a higher burden to prove the marriage, because you have an incentive to enter into a fake marriage. So she has to prove her case stronger than regular people, right?
Exactly.
So it's completely approvable. She probably needs a lawyer. The fact that they have 2 years together is actually really good, but they're going to need to prove that relationship up for the 2 years. So you can't just say, I've known him for 2 years. You need to prove all of that time from then till now. So they need a big old stack of stuff. There is a total path for her to stay. She should have started a long time ago, but my favorite saying is, best time to plant a tree was 10 years ago. The second best time is today. So, I'm glad they got married. They should apply. The BIA stuff makes it complicated. It'd be really nice. I mean, I guess she has, if she's at the BIA, that means she has a deportation order. So here's everything that needs to happen for her. She needs to file a kick-ass strong I-130 and get that approved. That's focus number one. Number two, I would try to slow down that appeal and all that stuff. But anyway, that's still going. And then once the I-130 gets approved, then go to the court and try to set aside the removal order so that she can file a 485 either in immigration court or more likely at USCIS. But the problem is this asylum case is way down the tracks now. So she's a lot closer to actually getting deported. So she might need to ask for some kind of relief just to let the I-130 play itself out. If I were her lawyer, I might even file a stay with the BIA and say, hey, just so you guys know, this lady is married to a U.S. citizen. She filed. Would you be willing to remand it back to the immigration court to either admin close or terminate proceedings so that we can do the I-130, get the I-130 approved, then go back to immigration court, reopen everything, and then try to adjust her that way?
Oh, okay, Jim. I already told her she's gonna contact your office. I told her already. I just wanted to ask the question for her first, because I told
have her watch this.
Yeah, and I already told her that she was gonna need your help, and she said okay, that I should just ask the question first. So I already gave her all your details already. So I'll tell her to reach out tomorrow, and I'll also tell her to watch this video.
If you could send an email to us and to her, that would be even better, and then we could follow up.
Okay, I'll do that.
Because otherwise, I mean, they get like 50 new people over the weekend, so it's really hard to get a hold of us on Monday. But if you send it and say this is Olu from Jim's show, then they'll pay more attention to it.
Okay, I'll do that, Jim.
All right, buddy.
Thank you.
Have
again.
a good day.
You
Bye,
too. Bye-bye.
See ya. All right, that's our old friend Olu. Olu's like his own little lawyer. He knows his stuff. He's done a great job for his case, for his kids' cases. But Olu's also smart enough to know that he's not a lawyer and always comes back to confirm things with me. So we appreciate that. Let's say hi to Chris and Hafiz. Hello, Chris and Hafiz.
Hello, Jim. How are you?
How are you? I'm great. How are you?
Great. Doing good. So Hafiz and I, we met on, online about 3 years ago, and we've been chatting ever since. And he lives in Pakistan, and I'm a U.S. citizen. And we finally met, and we're just looking at the next steps in terms of if we were decided to get married. What would be the best path? What would be the best case or best way to have the strongest case for USCIS? Since I know in the past you've said things like about the government not liking Pakistan and really taking a hard stance against.
Have either of you been married before?
No.
And so Hafiz lives in Pakistan right now. Where would you actually get married if you were to get married?
That's another question, is because his access to other countries is very limited due to the visa restrictions.
And I would assume you can't get married. You can't get married in Pakistan, right?
Right. We can't get married in Pakistan, and most same-sex countries that allow same-sex marriage would require a visa, or there'd be a lot of steps to get.
So it sounds like your only option. Sounds like your only option really is a fiance case, right?
That or getting married online. And
that's true.
I don't know if that would work either.
So this is a great problem, or a great question. I'm sorry, it's not a great problem. It's a great question, and that is, I hate fiance cases and I hate online marriages. So the question is, which do I hate more or less? Right? What's that? Is that me?
Right.
That's a weird. Something's ringing. Anyway, I think I would probably. I mean, you've now been there to see him, and I think that I would probably do the fiance case, as much as I don't like that. I mean, you're talking about dealing with Islamabad, which is in general one of the top 3 worst embassies, right? So,
right.
Yes.
So there's lots of problems with this case, but an online marriage, I think. I mean, I guess. How much longer are you going to be in Pakistan?
2 more days.
Oh, 2 more days.
So I'm going to be leaving like Wednesday.
So, could you get an online marriage before you left? Or is that what you were thinking? Or
I
were you
can look
thinking
into it. I know there's some
were you
states
thinking
that
next?
do.
Were you thinking next visit? Is that what you were thinking?
I don't think we're committed on right now doing things, and again, if it makes a stronger case, maybe I could come back.
Well,
later
here's the
this
thing.
year.
Here's the thing about online marriages is we have to show that the marriage was consummated. You know what that means?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to show that the marriage was consummated. So if you're there now together, if you did the online marriage today and consummated it before you left, we could argue. I mean, you don't show proof of consummation, but it has to be literally possible, right? So if you went back home and did a marriage, then we couldn't show that it had been consummated because you wouldn't have been back, right?
Right.
So
I mean, again, I was wondering if we could do it here.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You could do it here, but again, that brings up another problem, which is this is your first time visiting each other, right? So
right.
I'm always worried about people that get married on their first trip, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Again, we want the strongest case because again, we know that there's going to be a lot of pushback from USCIS.
Not USCIS. I think USCIS we're fine. I think it's the embassy that we got to worry about.
Okay.
So just to be clear, are you 100% sure there aren't any places you can go to get married? Because that would be the best.
We can look in that. I know he's looking at maybe relocating to Saudi Arabia for a job, but again, that's not going to help us with marriage, obviously. I can do some more research. It's just again, it's a country that we both have to get to, and
you should be able to go anywhere, just about. So,
right, but his visa freedom is very, very limited.
Yeah. So I would say that in the hierarchy of approaches, this is how I would rank them. Best thing would be if you could go get married in some third country. That's best. It sounds like the chances of that are less than 5%. Sounds like a pretty tall order. Second thing I think would be online marriage with you spending some time together face to face after, so that we could argue that's when consummation occurred. And then third best would be fiance visa. I'm really upset about fiance visas right now. They're just way at the bottom of the totem pole. Islamabad is not going to give us any kind of good approach on a fiance case, much less a same-sex. I mean, they would grill the shit out of Hafiz at a same-sex fiance interview. They're just going to go. I just think it's not going to be much fun at all, and I think it's going to go straight into administrative processing. So I think, having talked it all through, I think an I-130, and I will say this, Saudi Arabia might not be a great place because you can't go and get married, but if he can work there and you can do your interview there, that's better than Islamabad.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, any Muslim country we send you to and then that's where we have the interview, you're going to have a hard time with the same sex from a Muslim country. That being said, Saudi Arabia is going to be better than Pakistan. This is a tough case. Case.
And, one other thing too is we wanted to get him on tourist visa to the U.S.
Well, They probably won't give
very
it.
limited.
They probably won't give it.
It's very hard to get, but
yeah, I would skip that. I would skip that because that's going to be months and months, and then that just makes his immigration history more complicated later when you try. I mean, you could try it once, but I think it's most likely going to get denied, and then that stacks up in the negative column later on when you try the marriage or the fiance route.
Okay, so it's better to just kind of do it clean and start.
I vote for keeping immigration records clean, and I also vote for trying not to have this interview in Islamabad.
Yes.
Okay. So you could do the I-130 now, and then if he gets a job in Saudi or somewhere else later on, I might look at Malaysia too, if he can get there.
Yeah, it's easier to get a job there.
I would look for a job in Malaysia. I think you're gonna have a much better chance. I mean, it's still a Muslim country, but I think you got a good shot there. But I mean, the thing is, you never know, and it's gonna be a long-term process. You just got to do your best.
Okay, that's fair.
Well, yeah, we really appreciate your help, Jim.
You got it, guys. If you need help, this would be an interesting case for us to work on. It's a tough case. We'd be happy to represent you. Just let me know, okay?
I think we will.
We will.
Okay.
Need your help.
Yeah,
just at some point. So
just send us an email whenever you're ready. Have a safe trip back to the U.S., Chris.
All right. Thanks a lot, Jim. Have a great day.
Bye, guys. See ya. Yep. All right, everybody. I am out of here. I'm going to Norris softball game. Tomorrow's show, 4 p.m. Central, Monday, the 22nd. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Thanks for coming on, everybody. It was a good show.